Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for groundbreaking royal investigations and exclusive revelations. I'm your host, and today we're bringing you one of the most shocking discoveries in modern royal history. This investigation will challenge everything you thought you knew. Make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our breaking coverage. Tom, Bower just cracked one of the biggest royal mysteries of the decade. Not a rumor, not online chatter, a real traceable puzzle hiding in plain sight. Meghan Markle's true age. According to Bower, the story the world was handed about who Meghan is, when she was born and how her rise happened, doesn't match the records he uncovered. And the deeper he dug, the stranger the timeline became. A father's memory didn't line up. A magazine entry from 1997 destroyed the math completely, and documents that should have confirmed her age only raised more questions. Bower didn't set out to expose anyone, but piece by piece, he discovered something royal PR never expected anyone to notice. The Meghan Markle the palace introduced may not be the same woman the records describe. And if the age at the center of her story is off by years, then everything built on that number, her Hollywood journey, her royal entrance, even her pregnancies, must now be looked at again. This isn't gossip. This is ink. This is testimony. This is the timeline cracking open. Most fathers talk about their daughters with warm memories, old stories, childhood highlights, unforgettable moments. But when Thomas Markle spoke about Meghan, his tone was different. Heavy, careful, deliberate. It sounded less like a parent sharing stories and more like someone delivering testimony, someone trying to correct the record before it hardened into history. He described Meghan's childhood clearly: the schools she attended, the years she performed in theater, the age she began taking acting seriously. Yet, these memories didn't match the age Meghan publicly claimed during those same years. According to Thomas, events that were said to have happened in her late teens or 20s actually happened earlier or later, but definitely not when the palace timeline placed them. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse. He simply explained that the Meghan he raised didn't line up with the Meghan the world met. And then he dropped a quiet but powerful hint. Meghan's official birth year may have been adjusted. Coming from her father, the man who held her as a newborn, who marked her milestones with photographs and dates, that statement hit differently. It wasn't gossip. It was a first-hand challenge to her public identity. And for Bower, it became the first undeniable crack in the story. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now for more explosive investigations like this one. Hit that subscribe button. Then came the document that changed everything. In the March 1997 issue of 17 magazine, buried on page 90 among dozens of hopeful young faces, one line stood out. Meghan Markle, age 21, simple, ordinary, easy to overlook. But when you do the math, the entire story tilts. If Meghan was truly born in 1981, she would have been 15 years old in 1997, not 21. A 6-year difference, not a typo, not a rounding error. The number was printed, published, and distributed across the country long before Meghan became a duchess. Long before anyone had a reason to question her age. This one detail breaks the timeline completely. If the magazine was correct, then Meghan's schooling shifts, her early acting career shifts, her age when she took certain roles shifts. Even the age at which she entered the royal family shifts dramatically. And this wasn't an internet rumor. It wasn't a forum comment or guessing from strangers. It was ink on paper, a record frozen in time, untouched by later fame or publicity. For Bower, this wasn't just evidence. It was the turning point. Because once you see age 21 printed beside a girl who should have been 15, you can no longer assume the official version is the whole story. Something somewhere had been rewritten. And that question, why would someone adjust their age, is where the deeper investigation begins. Once the 17 magazine entry came back to light, the timeline split into two clear versions, one official and one suggested. The official record states Meghan was born in 1981, making her 44 in 2025. This is the version carried by palace files, biographies, and every introduction the public received when she joined the royal family. But the magazine record suggests a different reality. If Meghan was truly 21 in 1997, then her birth year lands around 1975 or 1976, placing her closer to 50 today. That 6-year shift doesn't just change her age, It changes the lens through which her entire life has been viewed. It changes how old she was when she graduated. It changes when she entered Hollywood. It changes the age she was when she met Prince Harry, instead of a 36-year-old actress stepping into the royal world. She becomes a woman in her early 40s. Doing so, a detail that would have dramatically shifted public perception, media stories, and even the palace's messaging, to birth years to Meghan's. And now the question becomes, which timeline reflects the woman and which reflects the image? Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report as we dive deeper into this mystery. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. If Meghan's age timeline already carried unanswered questions, the story surrounding Archie's birth pushed those questions into an entirely new territory. Tom Bower's investigation claimed that the details released about the delivery didn't simply sound polished, they sounded constructed. And for the first time, he wasn't the only one saying it. According to a source familiar with Portland Hospital's procedures, the official version described in Prince Harry's memoir did not match how births are handled inside that facility. Harry described a peaceful, almost movie-like scene, dim lights, calm energy, 2 epidurals, a smooth labor, and the couple heading home within 2 hours. But people who know how that hospital operates say the moment the story reached the part about 2 epidurals, the story began to wobble. The moment it mentioned leaving in 2 hours, it fell apart completely. This was no longer about rumor. It was about protocol, and protocol didn't match the royal script. The deeper the examination went, the clearer the contradictions became. Medical professionals pointed to several major issues with the story told to the world. First, epidurals aren't given twice like painkillers. They're continuous. A second dose would make no medical sense, and giving 2 separately is something doctors describe as nearly impossible. Second, a higher-risk pregnancy, the category Meghan's age placed her in. Regardless of which timeline is true, demands strict monitoring. Hospitals simply do not release patients that quickly. Not after labor, not after anesthesia, and certainly not with any red flags like high blood pressure or signs of preeclampsia. Third, the drive from Portland Hospital to Frogmore Cottage takes about an hour. If the couple was home within 2 hours of birth, that leaves barely a single hour for delivery, recovery, evaluation, discharge, and transport preparation. A sequence every doctor agrees cannot happen safely. Finally, the cozy spa birth environment described wouldn't be approved for someone under higher-risk supervision. No water tub, no scented candles, no birthing ball. Safety comes before atmosphere. Piece by piece, the described event drifted from reality into something else, something shaped, softened, and edited until it no longer looked like a standard medical experience. And if the birth story showed signs of rewriting, then it mirrored the same pattern seen in her age timeline: polished edges, missing steps, and details that resist fitting together. Keep watching Royal Daily Report for the most thorough royal investigations. Subscribe now and share this video. When public stories begin to twist, silence often says more than explanations. According to those familiar with the situation, the palace never addressed the contradictions directly. No clarifications, no corrections, just a steady commitment to the original version, as if acknowledging even a small adjustment would open the door to much larger questions. Sources suggest this may have been intentional, a controlled decision to keep the story neat, stable, and protected from close examination. When timelines crack, management steps in. It happens in Hollywood, in politics, and in royal circles. The goal is always the same: preserve the clean version. But the clean version only holds if no one looks too closely. And in Meghan's case, the closer investigators drew, the more the seams began to show. The birth, the age, the records. Each part carried a slight bend, a small adjustment, a detail that didn't quite sit comfortably beside the others. These weren't explosive accusations. They were quiet inconsistencies, the kind that don't shout but pile up. And once they pile up, the story no longer feels natural. It feels arranged, and that brings the story to its final chapter. Not a conclusion, but a realization. The realization that the truth might not be in the official lines, but in the faint ones beneath them. Every public figure carries 2 histories. There is the one written in ink, permanent, official, placed neatly into biographies and press releases. And then there is the one written in pencil, adjusted, reshaped, softened to create the version the world is meant to see. With Meghan Markle, the ink and the pencil no longer match. The Agent 17 magazine, the memories from her father, the medical timeline that bends under pressure, the birth story polished until it gleams. Each piece stands alone, but together they form a single picture, a picture that looks nothing like the flawless story the world was handed. The truth is not loud, it is subtle. It hides in math that doesn't add up, in dates that shift by years, in hospital procedures that contradict royal stories. It hides in the silence between official statements and lived experience. And as Tom Bower followed those faint clues, the shadow of a different timeline emerged. Older, sharper, and far less curated. Don't miss any updates from Royal Daily Report. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay informed on all royal revelations. Maybe Meghan's story was never meant to deceive. Maybe it was meant to protect a career, protect an image, protect a version of herself that felt easier to carry into a new world. But pencil, no matter how softly applied, always leaves pressure on the page. And when the light hits at the right angle, those hidden lines become visible. Now that the light has shifted, the erased marks are beginning to show. Not enough to solve everything. Not enough to answer every question. Just enough to make it impossible to return to the simple story the world once accepted without hesitation. The story doesn't end here. It can't, because once a timeline reveals its cracks, once ink and pencil collide, the truth doesn't disappear. It waits. And with every new detail that comes forward, every document rediscovered, every contradiction examined, one thing becomes more certain. We are only at the beginning of understanding who Meghan Markle truly is and which version of her past was left in pencil, hoping no one would ever tilt the page toward the light. That concludes today's groundbreaking investigation on Royal Daily Report. Tom Bower's discovery has opened a door that may never close, and we'll continue bringing you updates as this story develops. If this investigation shocked you, please like this video, subscribe to Royal Daily Report, and hit that notification bell so you're always first to know when we break major royal news. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these timeline discrepancies? Until next time, this is Royal Daily Report, uncovering the truth behind the royal headlines. Stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next report.